Roberta Hickey,
Yes.
welcome to Tasty Humans.
Thank you.
Powered by What's On and here in Media One Hotel. I always say thank you for doing this to everybody, but genuinely thank you for doing this because you have flown over here in a taxi to get this done. Which reminds me, because we can only do 45 minutes because you need to fly back. You know what I mean? So what have you been busy with? Like, what's going on?
Yes, I think as everyone knows, the season is really kicked off here in Dubai. But I've just been at Amsterdam dance event, so flew back from there this morning. So excuse the croaky voice.
Yeah.
And then straight into kind of event season. So we've got 2 events this weekend. We've got Sophia Spectra in Dubai, Take That in Abu Dhabi.
Take That.
Yeah, Etihad Park.
Still going.
Yeah, they're still going. I think there's 3 of them now,
I think they're down to 3, yeah.
But yeah, probably the show's amazing. So they're still going. And then building into some kind of more events in November. We've got Goldie here at P7 Arena Region 1.
Certainly have, which we're getting very excited about.
Yeah, it's going to be so good. And then really excited actually launching the International Music Summit, which is the first ever time in the Middle East. And that will be November 14th, 15th.
That's getting quite a lot of attention.
Yeah.
As the first one of it. You know, what was the kind of thought process behind it? Like, what's driven that?
So IMS has been running in Ibiza for 17 years. It was started by Pete Tong and co-founder Ben Turner. And last year it was acquired by the Beatport Group, who's kind of like the largest electronic music platform in the world. And as part of that, you know, one of the things is, you know, how can we grow this globally and be shining a light on electronic music around the world? So IMS has previously done events and summits in Asia Pacific and in the US. And the Middle East is one of the most exciting places for music in the world, and especially dance music. The live dance music scene is just incredible and has developed so much over the last couple of years that it was a bit of a no-brainer to bring it here.
Was it easy to get them to agree to it? What I mean by that is Dubai's always been known, I've been here 10 years, and Dubai's always been known as, how can I say this respectfully to Dubai, like a bit plastic. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where the real kind of music havens is obviously Ibiza, Miami, Amsterdam, as you were saying. Was it something they bought into very quickly, or did they think, you know, it might not be the right sort of backdrop?
Yeah, no, they actually did. So I've been consulting for Beatport for the last couple of years on growing their presence in the region. So they've kind of, I guess, seen a lot what's happening. And IMS Dubai, it's based in Dubai, but it's showcasing across the whole of the Middle East. So, for example, we've got a market focus on Egypt. And if you kind of, their dance music scene there is so culturally rich and it has so much history and excitement and kind of really grown against resilience. It's such an interesting market. So it is more than just Dubai we're focusing on. And we have speakers from Qatar, Jordan, Bahrain, kind of a real reflection of what's happening kind of like region wide. But then one thing I was really passionate about is I wanted to show that Dubai does have more than what you see. So we've got a panel that's purely based on the Dubai underground scene and culture, featuring a lot of pioneers of that scene, which I'm really excited about. And I'm excited for people to experience that panel and learn about what else is going on here.
And who's on the panel?
So on that one, we've got Hassan from Boogie Box, who's obviously a huge pioneer. We've got Shadi, who is owner of Flipside Record, as well as kind of an iconic DJ himself and label owner. We've got Jen Getz from Jen Getz and Alfie, who's been a big pioneer of the house music scene here. And then we have Parvane Barrett, who's a French-Iranian DJ based here, who's throwing her own really cool parties, playing at a lot of like the more like, the kind of cooler underground parties. So yeah, I'm really excited about it.
Well, you do have a big passion for the underground scene. Like, I think that my introduction to you, and I'm not just saying this because you're sitting here, was like one of the best lines that I've ever been given by my boss or any boss, which was, there's a lady downstairs that wants to throw a big drum and bass party. Do you want to meet her? And I was like, brilliant. I'll go and have that conversation.
Yeah.
How do you, like, coming into Dubai, like, you know, how do you see the underground scene developing? You know, it's just, I mean, I share the same passion as you know to sort of get the underground scene going. But how do you think it's going, and how do you think it can be developed further?
Yeah, well, I think it's great. I think there were some real pioneers of the scene. There's a DJ called Motion, who's one of our P174 residents, who's originally from Cairo, lives here. And I think what's really good about the Dubai underground scene is that there's a real community aspect. So I think that's because people are like, well, you know, why would you go to one of these parties when you've got Adriatica, Ushuaia, which we'll come back to. I guess when you mentioned Ibiza before, I was like, you know, that's really kind of Dubai is becoming winter Ibiza, right?
Yes.
But,
yeah.
Yeah, for the underground scene, I think the difference is the community.
Winter Ibiza. I like that. Yeah,
that's just what we need, isn't it, Grace?
That's a very, very good way of
around.
putting it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No break. So I think there's just an amazing community, and what I've really found is great is that a lot of my friends who are pioneering the more underground culture are on each other's parties, so they're really supporting each other, and there's that real community feel. And there's some cool venues. I know my friends kind of Gate 2 at Iris, Mo's on Fifth.
Yeah, I like Gate 2.
Yeah,
I like their idea.
Yeah,
you know, it's kind of no phones. And, and stuff like that. I love the no phones.
Yeah, sticker on your phone when you go in, and it's a vibe. It's a party, right? So I think the kind of more venues, the supporting of the culture, and I think what's amazing is the community aspect and people supporting each other, which is what it's all about.
So look, what is your background then? Like, you've been in Dubai for
just over 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years. So what were you? You know, what's your heritage in dance music? Like where did you begin? What dance floor were you on as a teenager? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How did all that start?
Well, someone asked me this the other day, and I was like, what was it? And then I realised it was actually this club called Priory in Doncaster.
Okay.
And I was like, oh God, I need a new answer. Don't but it was. And do you know what? That it was like a great dance music club in my hometown, and we used to love it. But then I went to uni in Leeds, and then obviously the dance music scene there is incredible. And I remember on a Thursday night, we used to have Villa Lobos at Mint Club, and Back to Basics on a Saturday.
I was say Back to Basics.
Yeah, I think that we were like, I was there 2007, 2010. It was like the rise of Jamie Jones, and he was there a lot of Saturdays. It was just amazing, and I just fell in love with it, really. And
well, Back to Basics was an institution.
Yeah, absolutely.
I went to Back to Basics in '94.
Right. Okay.
Showing my age. You know what I mean? But Leeds were phenomenal dance music culture. You know.
And I think it's where I built a lot of my friends. Like, a lot of my friends now are from university, and it was from going out together and having this shared passion. And then straight after finished uni, I went to Ibiza, did the kind of rite of passage of the Ibiza season.
And what were you doing in Ibiza? So that what 2009?
2010. Went for the first holiday there in 2009. I went back for the summer
as well.
Yeah. So I was working for Cream at Amnesia. And, yeah, and Tiesto.
Awesome.
Privilege. And
Privilege. Sorry, brilliant club.
Yeah, huge. So big, too big.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was incredible. And then I remember my dad, I went on holiday for 3 weeks, basically, then I just didn't come back. I was like, I've got a job. And I was like, come back and get a job. I was like, I've got a job in Ibiza. And he was like not happy. But I ended up staying. And then, funny enough, I came back and I ended up moving to London and working in like digital advertising. And after a couple of years, I realised if there was a brief that was anything to do with music, I was so passionate. And if it wasn't, I just kind of wasn't really bothered. Yeah. So I was like, okay, how do I move this to be in music full time? And the stars just aligned, really. I was doing kind of more social ad buying, which wasn't really for me. But I saw that, this also makes me sound old, that it was when brands had just started moving all their ad spend into social media. Because I was doing like homepage takeovers on Yahoo and AOL. And then it all got moved to like social media. So then I did a course on social media strategy because I was more interested in the creative side. And then stars aligning, I ended up getting a job as Carl Cox's social media manager. So it was like my Ibiza experience, I guess, combined.
I nearly swore then, right? Jesus, what a name!
Oh yeah,
I'm blown. Expand, please. That just sounds freaking awesome.
Yeah, it was so cool. So it was for Carl at Space, and Intech. And actually, funnily enough, I was bumped into John Rundell in ADE this year, and he ran Intech with Carl, and I used to do his releases. And we were just talking. I was like, "Are you John Rundell?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh my gosh, my first job in the music industry was working for you, and I used to promote your releases on social." So that was such a nice full circle moment. So we had a chat about that it was Saturday. So that was like, that just, I don't know, that felt like a really nice full circle.
And did you tour with Carl or did you do any of that or?
Not as much as I do remember one day, not as much as I would have liked.
Yeah.
I remember one day at our offices in Tottenham Court Road, and it was like chucking it down. It was raining so hard, and Carl was playing main stage Tomorrowland, but I was doing the socials from the office. And I remember just looking out the window, and it was raining, and I was like, oh yes, Tomorrowland main stage. And I remember thinking, wait, this needs to be changed. And start going myself.
Have you been to Tomorrowland?
I haven't been to Tomorrowland, no.
Because it looks, I've never been. No. I think the biggest dance music gig I've ever been to was the Prodigy at Milton Keynes Bowl, supported by every big drum and bass act you could think of, Pendulum, Chase and Status. I think it was Enter Shikari, it was 65,000 people. And that was But in comparison to Tomorrowland is just
it's the
whole, it's just nuts.
Yeah.
Do you think Dubai is going to do something like Tomorrowland? Is that something you kind of look to bring here or get involved in?
Well, obviously they have Terra Solis. So they've opened Terra Solis, which is owned by Tomorrowland. Okay. So they have the venue there, and they've been doing some really cool artists. So they're already in the region, right? And they've already got their area, and where it's based, it's kind of out in the desert. So there's room there if they want to expand. But when they opened, it's a stunning venue, and it's kind of like beach club vibes. And then they are having bigger artists. And now they do have a kind of mini Tomorrowland main stage design with like the big bird. So they have like their own mini one here in the region already. So I guess, there's always room for them to expand and grow.
Do you think that Dubai is going to become like you said, the Ibiza of the Middle East? I always like to ask this of DJs and people in this industry and everything, because I don't know, Dubai had, I think that there's a way that Ibiza has such a authenticity in the behavior of the crowd. Is Dubai going to get it? Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I get that. And I guess the story of Ibiza is, it's where all the hippies went, and it was born out of kind of London. Yeah. Esfedra obviously being the kind of most magnetic point in the world, as the kind of story goes. So I think, the story of that hedonistic growth of Ibiza that's obviously, very different to Dubai. But we were talking about IMS, actually. We've got a panel on Dubai and Ibiza duality, because obviously we have Ushuaia launching here next couple of weeks. O Beach is opening. There's Circo Loco Amnesia pop-ups at Soho Garden. Obviously, we've just launched IMS.
Yeah.
So there's definitely going to be, the same brands are here right now, and that's probably going to grow. So there's definitely similarities, and also if it opens up more kind of touring and these live opportunities for DJs, then great, But I think, we're not saying, it's going to be, it's a different culture, it's a different country, it's a different vibe to Ibiza 100%, but it's obviously kind of people are seeing the potential in it with the big brands coming over.
No, good. I hope so. I do think that Dubai is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and the artists are getting bigger, and the events are getting bigger. And it is something that is transcending that plastic statement that I made earlier, and it will eventually become, it's a terrible expression actually, but it will eventually become cool. You know what I mean? I think. Anyway.
And there's different venues, like Soho are opening that island with that kind of music.
Yeah, I was having dinner with him last night. He's one of my best friends.
Yeah.
And he was telling me all about it, and I won't go too much into it, but I'm just like, mate, that's crazy. And it's going to be insane, that site is.
And then there's some really cool stuff happening at Expo. Obviously, Eric Prince did Hollow there at the weekend. Kind did a show there. So I love those outdoor kind of party vibes as well. And there's new venues now kind of opening up all the time, and new experiences. So it's exciting.
So how do you move from Carl Cox's social media manager to now throwing mega parties? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was a bit of a journey, actually. I stayed very much within content and artists when I was in London. So ended up was at MTV for 4 years, which was incredible. So working with artists of all genres and working on the EMAs and TV shoots, and that was incredible. And then had a year at Meta, so again very focused on the kind of social content element with artists, and then moved. It was a bit of a hunch, actually, just kind of moved to the Middle East because I just I just felt it's so weird. I don't even know how else to explain it. Just I felt in my gut there was potential.
Okay.
So I moved, and then the first few months were actually so hard. Like I just finished a dream job really. I just finished a contract at Amir, and I think I launched collab posts with Elton John and Ed Sheeran, which was obviously such a career highlight. And then I moved here, and like I couldn't get a job in music at all. So the first 6 months were actually so difficult. But I still kind of had this feeling in my gut that I thought it was the right place to be.
Why couldn't you get a job, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, a lot of the content platforms, which is where my experience was, that's what I was applying for, were wanting Arabic speakers because a huge focus for them is local artists, which makes total sense, right? So it was, and people didn't know me at all. So in London, if there was a job, I would probably know, if I didn't know someone at that company, I would definitely know someone who did. So I could always get a little kind of, that recommendation. Whereas here, I'd never worked here, I'd never lived here, so I didn't really know anyone who could give me those little recommendations, that little foot in the door. So I was really just starting from scratch. And then basically I was just hitting up, I mean, if you worked in the music industry in Dubai, I was probably in your DMs in LinkedIn at some point. And yeah, I just kept kind of, I guess hustling, for want of a better word. And then funnily enough, someone who I messaged was working at Sony, and he was like, we're on home Arabic speakers, but we've just acquired a live events company and I think you'd be perfect. So then he sent my CV to Mac Global, and then they hired me. And I was like, oh, phew.
And they hired you as?
Head of talent booking.
Okay, cool. So now Mac Global, Sony, you're throwing huge events.
Yeah. You're
booking all the, what's it? I always like this because I've tried to do it a couple of times in my career and it's a nightmare. Like, what's it like booking the talent? You know what I mean? It's...
Yeah. No, it's definitely, I mean, with anything, right, there's challenges. I think there is a big challenge in the Middle East with fee expectations because, everyone knows Saudi pays huge amounts. And, at the end of the day, it's a business and we have to sell tickets and get the revenue. Otherwise, we don't make money and So there's definitely that. But I do think people are understanding the region a bit more, seeing the potential as it being more of a touring region, not just a cash and grab, using it as a stop off from Asia and Australia. So it's definitely been a journey, and it's been good kind of at ADE, as with a lot of the agents there, and having really good positive conversations. And people are open-minded to coming to the region, and they're kind of understanding fees are kind of leveling out a bit now, and how could they, looking at it more as a touring region and a few plays rather than one, or working with an Asia tour. So yeah, it's good. I think conversations are going in the right direction. And I think the good thing about booking talent in the Middle East is you get the opportunity to do things for the first time. So in February, I booked Saudi Arabia's first ever jazz festival, which took place in Riyadh. And every artist that I took, it was their Saudi debut. And there's just not many places in the world you would get to do something like that. So I think, there's challenges, but there's also amazing kind of opportunity and reward, I guess.
And how is Saudi? Like, it's this emerging space, but how is it being in Saudi and doing this?
Yeah, well, I've actually found it really positive, all my experiences in Saudi. And as a kind of an advocate for females and females in the industry, it's been a territory that I found really interesting to get to know, and speaking to a lot of the women there, and just how things have changed and the opportunities, and the support that kind of females in general, but also, females within music are getting it's amazing to see. When we did Jazz Festival with some of the artists, we had Hiatus Coyote and Coco Rocco, and we took them into the music hub to meet the Saudi music students. And there's this amazing female drummer there who was really into Hiatus Coyote and the album. And it just really opened up their eyes. I just think they never thought that was the kind of experience they would have in Saudi Arabia. So I think that's really important, to kind of take the artists there and give them those experiences to meet these students, both female and male. But I think as well, just to see these kind of incredible females rising and doing amazing things. So for me, it's been, and I feel really lucky actually to have been a part of, of launching the Jazz Festival there. I've spoke at XP, the conference there, a few times on female representation in the music industry. And I think, what an incredible opportunity to be able to do that. It feels very like, yeah, once in a lifetime. Well, once in a lifetime.
How has female representation grown, like over your career? You know, it is a conversation, you know, of our times now, which are these topics. So how did you find it very difficult in the beginning of your career, or do you feel there's ever been any roadblocks? Or
so one thing, so I've got a women in music platform called Little Pink Book, and the reason why I started it is I actually feel very lucky that I've had a very positive career in the music industry, and I've had some incredible both female and male bosses and mentors and pioneers. I have definitely had conversations where I'm like, wow, you can kind of see someone's way of thought is kind of not aligned, I guess. But for me in general, I have had a positive experience, and that was one of the reasons why I wanted to start Little Pink Book, is because I think if we only talk about the negatives, then I didn't want young women to enter defeated, to think, okay, I'll work in music but I'll never make as much money as the man sat next to me, or I won't work in music because I'll never become a CEO. I think kind of what I wanted to do was to use Little Pink Book to showcase these incredible, amazing women who are in high level positions, who are doing incredible things. So they have the role models, so they have the kind of the resource and the inspiration to push for that themselves, and then bring women together so that these women who are in these high level and high powered roles can then support and give advice and mentor the kind of women rising through. So I think that's the way to equality, but there's still such a long journey. Like if you look at board members on like labels and big companies, the ratio of men to women is still, it's still kind of not where it needs to be. And
why do you think that is? Like, what's coming from the, and I don't want you to say anything that you may, or, you know, I'm just sort of asking, like, why music is such, I'm a big music fan, and from my perspective, which is on the outside, it always looks that since the dawn of time, it's been both genders in the music, you know, amazing guys, amazing female, everything like this. And but why do you think it's taken, or it's been so tricky to have it run by equality, an equal sort of number?
It's just the way the world has worked, right? Like, if you think it wasn't even, I wouldn't say like how long, maybe like 40, 50 years ago, where it was still very much like the women look after the children, and you know, that's when the men were at work, and that was the way of the world, and things aren't going to change overnight, basically. So, you know, there are still people who obviously would, well, you would hope, never say it, but it's bad enough that they think it, but who would probably still have those views. And things don't change overnight, and it's a journey, and it's education and bringing up kind of what we're saying, like newer talent in the ranks, and keeping having these conversations and driving towards equality. And it's a journey, and hopefully, you know, we'll get there, a much closer version of it in my lifetime, but it's definitely going to take time.
Amazing. So, P7.
Yes.
Goldie.
Yes.
So, why Goldie? I mean, I know it kind of answers itself. What I mean by that is that, you know, when you said to me, hey, you want to bring Goldie out here, I was like, kind of, you know, wow. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I think because trying to grow Project 174 as a drum and bass brand, I think what my kind of vision is, you know, to get those headliner names, those legends. Obviously, we launched it with Andy C. To grow the brand, and then in time, you know, what would be great that we can just have kind of an event that's just small local DJs supporting them. But before that, we need to really kind of, that people will just come to a Project 174 event because they trust it's going to be amazing no matter who's playing. But I think it takes time to get there and to grow that brand and to grow that trust. I just wanted to bring in some icons, really, and headliners, right. and Gold. And I think the thing with Gold as well, he kind of transcends just drum and bass, right? He's kind of, you know, he's read a book and people know him just as
a James Bond movie as well.
Yeah. So he just felt like a good fit, and it's just one of those that it just came together. He was, I believe, maybe in Asia, and it just kind of, the dates worked, everything worked. He was up for it. So sometimes you get lucky, and it just.
Well, he's definitely an icon of the genre.
Yeah.
Did some of the biggest rave tunes. You know, I remember some of the stuff that he did. many years ago, and definitely some of the most iconic tracks that came out of the rave era were by him. So
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really
it's a proper, it's a proper godfather of the brand. Why do you think drum and bass is taking so long to sort of settle here? I mean, I thought Andy was very good. I mean, we don't need to sort of dive too deeply into that, but it was a great night. It was a great party.
And he loved it. He won't come off the decks.
Yeah.
It's perfect. He was like, I'm going to keep playing. And then my closing DJ was like, can I go on here? I will. I'm not telling Andy to go
called me over to the stage, and he just, I'll never forget this, where he just leans down, he goes, we're not coming off. You know what I mean? And I was like, okay. And he's like, we're not coming off. And I was like,
what did you say?
Well, I just said, well, smash it then. You know what I mean? And I think that, and the moment where he when Andy was coming on, and Tom Piper said, right, everyone put your phones away. You know, we're having a house party. I was like, oh, it's because it was such a great atmosphere.
It was.
But I think after that was it Untold?
Yeah.
And that had a whole drum and bass stage.
Yeah.
And I think Chase and Status played, didn't they?
Yes.
And I heard it was really good.
Yeah,
but
sure, yeah.
I'm kind of surprised how just it's not, I don't know, like, or what do you think? Like,
it's just the way the music industry is here. It does seem to be just kind of things come not at the same time as the kind of UK US. It kind of takes a bit more time to bubble here and grow. But which is why I wanted to start Project 174 now. Like, drum and bass is huge in the UK again. You've got Chase and Status did Milton Keynes Bowl. You mentioned Duets Prodigy. They were the headline, and it was huge. And they've had like 2-3 number ones in the charts this year.
They've had a big resurgence, Chase and Status. I remember they did I forget the album that's got No Problem.
Oh yeah.
I remember when the first time I saw them at Snowbombing.
Yeah.
In 2011, and I saw them in the underground, the tennis court arena, and I didn't really know what to expect. And you, unbelievable. Yeah. You know, like I thought it was beyond wild. You know, it was because there's much more of a band element going on with them. They're very similar to the Prodigy in that way. And then they released an album called My Brand New Machine, which, I'll be honest, it bombed because it was so different.
Yeah.
And I think they've only now started to return to that, get their audience back, you know, and now they're letting off absolute bangers again.
Yeah.
Like the Boiler Room set.
Yeah, unreal.
Was superb.
Like, I had them here at Blah Blah for the 30th of December, not this year, the year before. And it was rammed, and there was like queues outside the door, and that was just before they like blew as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a real resurgence of drum and bass. I think after COVID and people not going out, and then there's a big rise in like bottle culture and all that, I think people are just craving something raw and sweaty. And I think, you know, that I just really think that it feels the right time for it. People like don't want to be on their phones filming a spark in a bottle. People want to be dancing and raving.
I'm so glad you said
I think there's that everything's cyclical in fashion, in music, in life. And I think we're just kind of going back into that rawness of it, which I love.
Do you think the I sound like such an old man, the younger generation are ever going to put their phones away?
Yeah.
Do you think I have this conversation all the time. Do you think they understand it? Or it's almost like if all you've ever known is your phone, then why would you not have it?
Yeah, no, I think
you know what I
there's
mean?
a bit of a... I think there is... Oh my gosh, is it Gen Z? And then I can't remember who the new one is now.
Is there a new one?
Yeah, I think there's an Alpha, Gen Alpha.
Is it?
Maybe. But I think there's almost an anti-social media thing happening with the younger generations who want that real... I mean, they've grown up, I guess, on their phones and living with these screens. And I think now there's like going the other way with that. We just want to live life.
So I heard there's dumb phones. It's a proper statement.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Where people are now going, and some celebrities have done this. I think the most famous one is Selena Gomez.
Okay, yeah.
Where is the pioneer of the dumb phone. Yeah. Where it's got no social media on it. It's like an old Nokia.
Yeah. I've seen this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Vodafone.
Yeah. And long may that continue. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That would be a an awesome thing to come along.
The only thing for me is I've got no sense of direction, so I'd need something with maps. And I just need maps.
I was like, I want a dumb phone, but as long as it has WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
WhatsApp and maps.
My life gets a lot tougher. Yeah, so Goldie's coming November 16th,
Yeah.
P7. Who's playing on the undercard then? So as you were saying, you want to pioneer like the up-and-coming guys.
Yeah.
Who have we got sort of on that?
So we've got the pre-party, which is headlined, kind of taken over by Unity, Bassworks and Signal, who are kind of three of the drum and bass party pioneers here in Dubai. So what I really wanted to do is kind of bring everyone together. I guess what I was kind of saying before, I think in music and dance music, community and collaboration over competition every day. So I kind of reached out to the guys and they were really up for it. So, they're hosting the pre-party, which I think is just going to be so fun and sets a real, like, good tone for the night.
Yeah.
And then hopefully we can do more of, like, collaborating on the parties. And then in the main room, we've got Finley LaFox, who, he's a massive drum and bass fan, DJs it. And I think what's been great as well since I launched it is I've got a lot of people reaching out to me, being like, please going to DJ, I DJ drum and bass, and I think people are excited about having the opportunity here, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to do it, to give people that platform. So that's been amazing, and Finley's one of those.
You DJ as well, don't you?
I do.
You've just reminded me of that, where you DJ'd at the Andy C party, is that right?
Yeah, I did.
How did that come about, where you were like, right, I'm going to have a go at this? Like,
well, because I refuse to ever book an all-male lineup. I will never ever do it.
Okay.
And I was really, really struggling to find female DJs in Dubai. So I was like, well, I'm going to learn then. So I'll play. I already DJ'd that house. I'm like a 128 BPM girl. So then when I threw it into like 174, it was a journey. But I was like, but actually, look, it had Whitley Roche on the lineup as well. She was incredible. But I don't want to have like one. Doesn't have to be, one woman takes the box.
No,
like,
of course.
The more.
Why do you think there's not a lot of female DJs here?
It wasn't that. It was just drum and bass specifically.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
I also hear it's that in the UK, it's a much bigger wave now. But it hasn't been a mainstream thing for a while. So if you think a lot of the new DJs coming up, they're, there's a small chance they're going to be learning drum and bass unless they've kind of been inspired about it in some way. But we've got an incredible lady called Kira who's DJing, who's an amazing drum and bass DJ. She goes hard.
Yeah.
Love. So we've got Kira, we've got our Project 174 residents, Adam Yeomans and Motion, and then Finley Fox.
Okay, so what's the future then? Like, so let's say Goldie's going to work.
Yeah.
We know that. Andy worked. It works. Do you know what I mean? So what do you think? Where do you see it going? Who would you like to bring over the course maybe of 2025?
Yeah. Well, my dream would be to keep growing it, keep building the community. Also, getting people into drum and bass who maybe haven't been to a drum and bass rave before, like, come down, it's fun, experience it. But my dream would be to kind of take over Media City Amphitheatre. And we have Chase and Statements live, or we have Pendulum live, and we do a full big outdoor drum and bass day festival. Like Project 174.
That would be Pendulum Live.
Yeah.
It's just off the chain.
I'm putting that out there into the universe now. There we go. I've said it out loud. It's out in the universe. Going to make it happen.
Well, I think as far as I know from the amphitheatre, I think I could get in trouble for saying this. I think there's a year left because of I don't even know what direction I'm pointing now. Because of the big hotel that they're going to build. But amphitheatre. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But to do a monstrous. No, so I'm saying, like, let's get it going. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a year left in the amphitheatre. It would be an amazing gig, because Expo's a great site, but it's kind of all the way out there. That amphitheatre it's like right in the heart of the marina, and it's like, let's have a monster drum and bass party with 10,000 people going crazy.
Yeah, unreal. I like collaborations, like maybe something with, I don't know, Soul DXB one year, we do Project 174 present stage, or Untold.
Yeah.
Really just grow the brand and do some cool, exciting stuff, I guess. Good parties.
Yeah, no, that's what
it's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about. I mean, let's just throw a good party. Do you know what I mean? We get to a point where, like, we don't even care if it makes money. Let's just throw a good party. Let someone else lose money. Not really. Just kidding, boss. Look, this has been a great conversation. I know you're busy. Do you know what I mean?
It's fine. Thank you very much for having me. It's honestly.
But one thing I like doing in this is learning about who I'm talking to, which is why we don't have much pre-conversation,
Yeah.
you know. And I always like to sort of ask the guests if they want to end it on saying one thing they could directly communicate to a potential audience listening. So if you were to talk to any females out there that, you know, want to get into the music industry and all the things you've learned, because I think also what I really admire about what you've said is that it's not just about getting into the industry and being all fluffy duffy, look at me, I'm with these celebrities doing these events. You're actually trying to really promote and empower the female side of things. So what would you say to anybody out there sort of listening that thinks that it is a male-dominated world and is never going to be able to get into it?
Yeah.
What would you say?
I would say, like, believe in yourself, like 100%. Have a clear direction. You know, where do you want to go? Why do you want to do it? Know your intention and stay true to that. And you know, knocks do come. Like, you're going to get no's. It's life. But, you know, keep believing in what you want to do, believing in your mission. Keep reaching out. Don't be afraid to, like, reach out to people, ask for help, ask if they have work. You know, put yourself out there. It's hard, but, you know, it does make a difference. And, you know, that's what I did. And it did make such a difference for me. So I think just keep believing in yourself, trust your gut, be kind, be nice to people, communicate, collaborate, you know, and support those around you as well. I think that's right. With Little Pink Book, I do a lot of networking events here and females. So if you want to kind of check it out, and then if there's any females who are feeling a bit lost, then, you know, please come to one of the events.
What's the easiest way to find Little Pink Book?
On Instagram, so @_Little Pink Book _ and we'll post about all our events on there. And we've got some really exciting things coming up. So yeah, definitely follow and please, come to the events. I always love to, like, meet new women here who are wanting to meet other women in the industry.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I know you pressed for time. Thank you so much for coming on and having the conversation. And P7 Goldie, November 16th.
Yeah,
it's going to go off.
It will go off.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you.